Making headlines this hour. Minister Mohammed Saeed says the Maldives can overcome major challenges in its export and import sector by modernizing its main commercial port with the same ambition that transformed VIA. The Privatization and Corporation Board, or PCB, directs all state-owned enterprises to strengthen their internal audit and risk management functions in a move aimed at reinforcing accountability and improving corporate governance. And the Privatization and Corporatization Board, or PCB, directs state-owned enterprises and government entities to ensure that their appointed information officers are fully conservant with the Right to Information, or RTI Act. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Abdullah Ahil. And now the news in detail. Maldives President Dr. Mohamed Muiz is set to meet with business owners this Wednesday, particularly for small and medium-sized enterprises or SMEs. Hina Walid, the spokesperson for the President's office, has informed the public of this meeting via a post on X. This post details that of the series of meetings with the President, the meeting next Wednesday is specifically designed for SMEs. Therefore, such business owners are extended to the invitation to meet with the President at the social center. The President has also previously met with local fishermen in a similar fashion. In addition to this, there is also a meeting planned with Ngalolo district residents today. Such meetings are being held regularly to consult locals for their opinions and to facilitate discussion. So far, President Dr. Mohamed Muiz has met with residents from every inhabited island in the Maldives. Meetings for workers in specific sectors as well as those with residents of particular districts in Male are also being conducted. This aligns with the President's plan to work closely with the people of the Maldives. Minister of Economic Development and Trade Mohammed Saeed says the Maldives can overcome major challenges in its export and import sector by modernizing its main commercial port with the same ambition that transformed Velana International Airport, or VIA. The minister's remarks reflect a key pillar of the government's strategy to accelerate economic growth through large-scale infrastructure development.
Speaking at a ceremony marking a port management training program conducted in collaboration with UN Trade and Development and Maldives Ports Limited MPL, Economic Minister Saeed outlined a comprehensive roadmap for the ports sector. He confirmed that a central component of the plan is the long-anticipated relocation of the congested Male commercial harbour to the industrial island of Tilafushi. The proposed 60-hectare port development is a $250 million project designed to provide a long-term, sustainable solution for the country's trade and logistics needs. Minister Saeed stressed the urgent need for expansion, noting that while container handling capacity has increased from 30,000 TEUs in 2000 to 100,000 TEUs today, the physical size of the port has not kept pace with rapid growth in tourism and the wider economy. He added that development efforts will extend beyond the capital, with plans to establish smaller satellite ports across the country and develop 2 major commercial ports in the northern and southern regions to enhance nationwide connectivity. Linking port development to the cost and availability of essential goods, Minister Saeed said improving capacity and efficiency is critical to ensuring basic food items are readily available and fairly distributed, even to the smallest islands. He said strengthening the main commercial port would play a vital role in driving broader economic resilience and national development.
The Privatization and Corporatization Board, or PCB, directs all state-owned enterprises to strengthen their internal audit and risk management functions in a move aimed at reinforcing accountability and improving corporate governance. The decision was taken at the board's 30th meeting and applies to government-owned companies, their subsidiaries, and state-run commercial entities. Under the directive, enterprises must confirm the existence of a risk management function, either as an independent unit or integrated within the internal audit department, and establish one immediately if it does not already exist. The PCB emphasized the importance of conducting needs assessments to determine staffing requirements, instructing companies to prioritize the recruitment of technically skilled personnel capable of carrying out operational responsibilities rather than focusing on management-level appointments. To enhance transparency, companies have been instructed to regularly share procurement data, quarterly financial statements, and related documentation with their internal audit teams. The directive also requires existing audit bodies to be renamed as Audit and Risk Committees. Annual compliance reviews must be conducted to assess adherence to PCB instructions, with findings submitted to company boards to support institutional improvements and strengthen governance practices. The PCB has set a deadline of the 31st of January 2026 for the full implementation of all structural and procedural changes outlined in the directive. The Privatization and Corporatization Board, or PCB, directs state-owned enterprises and government entities to ensure that their appointed information officers are fully conservant with the Right to Information, or RTI Act, in a move aimed at strengthening transparency and corporate governance. The directive also applies to subsidiaries and requires companies to designate personnel responsible for handling public and media information requests. The PCB said appointees must possess either relevant legal qualifications or a comprehensive understanding of applicable laws and regulations to ensure information is provided accurately and with due authority. To maintain institutional continuity, the board instructed companies to establish a general email address for RTI requests rather than relying on individual staff email accounts. This measure is intended to ensure proper record-keeping and continuity in the event of staff changes. Companies have also been instructed to prominently publish the appointed officer's name, contact number, and designated email address on their official websites to ensure public accessibility. The PCB clarified that appointing an information officer does not require organizational restructuring, as the responsibility should be assigned to an existing employee formally designated by the company's board of directors. The board emphasized that compliance with these instructions is mandatory under the Privatization and Corporatization Act. The Maldives Media and Broadcasting Commission, or MMBC, unveils a comprehensive code of conduct for journalists, broadcasters, and media personnel, requiring strict adherence to ethical, legal, and societal standards. The code has been introduced under the recently enacted Maldives Media and Broadcasting Commission Act and is intended to promote responsible journalism while safeguarding national interests and public morals. Key provisions require respect for Islam, the Constitution, and national laws, as well as commitments to national security, social morality, and human rights. Media professionals are mandated to ensure accuracy and transparency in reporting, protect individual privacy, and avoid content that could harm vulnerable groups, including children and persons with special needs. The code also encourages diversity of opinion on public issues within the limits prescribed by law. The regulations further address intellectual property rights, explicitly prohibiting plagiarism and the unauthorized reproduction of content. In addition, the use of artificial intelligence, or AI, in media production must be clearly disclosed, with AI permitted only as a supplementary tool and subject to verification by media professionals. Under the code, violations may result in penalties, including fines ranging from $324.25 to $6,485.08 for media outlets. Individual offenders may be required to issue public corrections, apologies, or retractions as directed by the MMBC. The Commission said the introduction of the code reflects the government's broader efforts to strengthen accountability, professionalism, and ethical standards within the Maldivian media sector. Revenue from the Maldives green tax reaches $129.74 million in the first 11 months of the year, more than doubling the collections recorded during the same period last year. Figures released by the Maldives Inland Revenue Authority show that the latest total represents a 109.3% increase from the $62.99 million collected during the corresponding period in 2024. The green tax now accounts for 6.9% of overall state revenue during this time frame, a rise driven by record visitor arrivals that exceeded 2.1 million by mid-December. More than 1.5 million tourists stayed at resorts, while substantial numbers opted for guest houses, hotels, and safari vessels. Under the current structure, the tax is set at $12 per person per night for stays at resorts, hotels, and safari vessels, and $6 for guest house occupants. Exemptions apply only to children under 2 years of age. Proceeds are channeled into island-based environmental projects, including water and sanitation systems, coastal protection measures, and initiatives designed to maintain a clean and sustainable environment. Wajid Ali Chowdhury, chairman of the Badminton Asia Development Committee, arrives in the Maldives on a landmark development visit aimed at strengthening the future of badminton in the country. He was welcomed at Velana International Airport by Ishfan Mohammed, president of the Badminton Association of Maldives, or BAM. The visit marks the first by a Badminton Asia official since Ishfan Mohammed's election as BAM president last November, and comes shortly after the restoration of BAM's national status and the lifting of its suspension by the Badminton World Federation, or BWF. Speaking to PSM News upon arrival, Chowdhury said the purpose of his visit is to hold key discussions with BAM on behalf of Badminton Asia, focusing on strategic plans to develop and strengthen badminton across the Maldives. Expressing confidence in the current BAM leadership, Chowdhury endorsed Ishfan Mohammed's ability to promote and advance the sport nationally, signaling strong continental support for the association's renewed direction. Taking a look at international business, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Jordan King Abdullah II bin Al Hussein discusses strengthening economic ties at the India-Jordan Business Forum held in Amman as both countries mark 75 years of diplomatic relations. Speaking during the event, Abdullah II hoped to enhance economic ties with India, highlighting what he said were opportunities to expand into new horizons for cooperation.
Under the great leadership of Prime Minister Modi, India has witnessed great growth, and we look forward to working with you all to take our economic partnership to further heights. Today's discussions mark an important step for our two nations to advance our shared economic priorities with opportunities to expand into new horizons for cooperation.
Modi, who arrived in Amman on Monday, stressed that the world needs a new growth engine and a trusted supply chain, adding that India and Jordan can play a significant role in fulfilling this demand. Moving on to world affairs, leaders including Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky arrives in The Hague to launch an international claims commission to compensate Kyiv for hundreds of billions of dollars in damage from Russian attacks and alleged war crimes. Dozens of senior figures from Europe and beyond were attending a one-day conference co-hosted by the Netherlands and the 46-Nation Council of Europe, the continent's largest rights group. The gathering coincided with a U.S.-orchestrated diplomatic push to end the war in Ukraine that was triggered by Russia's full-scale invasion in February 2022. Dutch Foreign Minister David Van Wiel confirmed that the Commission would be headquartered in the Netherlands and stressed the importance of reparations for Ukrainian victims.
As you know, we have today a very important day for accountability, for reparations for Ukraine. We are establishing this morning the Claims Commission. This is a very important step after the register of damage created by the Council of Europe, after the summit of the head of state and head of government in Reykjavik 23. Now we have a very strong situation with more than 86,000 damages registered in the register, and we need to make the next step to make sure that it will be accountability and reparations for damages in the context of the war in Ukraine.
Details on how any damages awarded by the Commission would be paid still need to be worked out, but early discussions included using Russian assets frozen by the EU supplemented by member contributions. The 2-year-old Register of Damage, which will become part of the Claims Commission, has received more than 80,000 claims submitted by individuals, organizations, and public bodies in Ukraine under a wide range of categories. Russian officials were not immediately reachable to comment on the commission. The Kremlin denies accusations of war crimes by Russian forces in Ukraine. It has also described the EU's proposal to use immobilized Russian assets to finance Ukraine's defense and budget needs as illegal and threatened retaliation. We now bring you the call to prayer for Aisha.